Loss comes in many forms, and usually in unexpected ways. It can be devastating, leaving you facing an uphill struggle to go on with life without someone you thought would always be there. But life does go on, and even in the deepest despair, we can find hope. Welcome to Grief Relief with your hosts, Drs. Gloria and Heidi Horsley, brought to you by the Open to Hope Foundation, helping people find hope after loss. And now here's Dr. Gloria and Dr. Heidi.
Welcome to the Grief Relief Show. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Horsley, with my co-host,
Dr. Heidi Horsley.
Well, Heidi, we've got a pretty intense show today, and a really important show, and a show that's going to let people know how they can be advocates if they've had a loss and what they can do to help the world and move it along, even though they've had a tremendous tragedy.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm really interested to bring what's going on to people's awareness, and we are talking about making meaning after loss at Golden Gate Bridge today.
And we have a couple of guests who unfortunately had a tremendous tragedy. Each one of them has lost a child on the Golden Gate Bridge. And one is Sue Story, and her son Jacob died at the bridge, and David Hull and his daughter Kathy. So we'll be talking to them about what's going on in the bridge and what they're doing to advocate to make the Golden Gate Bridge a safer place.
All right.
So let's get started. First, we've got David Hull here. Hi, David.
Hi, David. Welcome.
I really appreciate your coming today. And Sue Story.
Hi,
Thank you
Sue.
for inviting us.
Now, the reason we've had you both on today together is because you are very involved with trying to get some safety onto the Golden Gate Bridge, right? You want to talk about it first, David? You're co-founder of the Bridge Rail Foundation.
Right. We all have different purposes as we go through life. They shift from day to day. There's one legal citizen of California that has had only one purpose for its entire existence, and that's the Bridge Rail Foundation, which was incorporated as a California nonprofit, a legal citizen of the state, in December 2006. Our one purpose is to see a suicide deterrent system on the Golden Gate Bridge.
Now tell us, how many people have jumped, Sue?
I think there's been documented cases. There's been over 1,600 people that have documented to have jumped. That means either witnessed or they've retrieved their bodies.
1,600. That's amazing. I had no idea. I've got to tell you, before we did the show, you guys are really building awareness for me because I didn't realize this.
And that's only the documented. There's many others that haven't.
And only how many people have actually survived, David?
32. That's fewer than 2%.
Wow.
We did a straw vote a couple, 3 years ago among a group of 12 or 15 survivors to ask, how many of you have bodies? Only half of them.
Only half of the people found the remains.
So they weren't counted.
Okay. And you were saying before the show that I think you said 3 people a month jump off the Golden Gate Bridge. Is that true?
The 40-year average
Okay.
is about 30 a year. Last year there were 46. And August was the highest month ever.
And I was wondering, now your daughter, how long ago was it that you lost her, Kathy?
It was coming up on 11 years this October 26th.
And how about you, Sue?
Jacob died November 22nd, 2010.
Wow.
So actually I'm newly bereaved.
You know, it's so interesting to me because before you had these terrible losses of your kids, you didn't know anything about probably what was happening at the bridge or a foundation or anything like that. And now here you are advocating. And I know you said that you walk the bridge sometimes.
Yeah. Well, since my son died, one thing I did is when my son died, I thought my life was over. I didn't think that I had anything to live for. And I found the Bridge Rail organization, and I connected with them. And I realized that my son's life can't be saved. So all I could do is reach out and try to save other people. So I do what they call Bridge Watch. And there's a couple of us that go back and forth on the bridge just watching to see if anybody's suicidal. And so far since I've done it, and I've probably done it 10, 15 times, there has been only one person that we found that was a possibility of suicide, that was suicidal.
That's pretty amazing, given that you've only done it 10 or 15 times that you found somebody as you were walking and possibly helped save their life.
Yeah.
Now, David, talk a little bit about where you are with the bridge rail. It's a time when maybe actually there'll be nets, right? And what does it look like? I know you've been advocating for how long for this?
Well, since December 2006, and there have been a number of checkpoints here. In 2008 was the first major checkpoint when the Golden Gate Bridge District reversed 70 years of non-policy and approved construction of a bridge, of a suicide deterrent system, with the caveat that the money had to come from outside their budget.
And it's not a small amount of money, is it? How much is it?
Well, in 2008 it was 50 million, then it went to 66 million. There's talk now that it would be higher.
Yeah, so we're talking about a lot of money, but as I watched a video that you were on, and you were making the comment that if people were jumping off another building in San Francisco, they'd be doing something about it right away, and here they know, and it's kind of remarkable because don't they have cameras, and they even have boats that they get in touch with if somebody jumps. Is that right?
You know, the Bridge Rail is the 8th volunteer effort to get a suicide deterrent system on the bridge. The 7th effort compromised accepting cameras, video cameras, patrols, and a hotline. And the report from the Marin County coroner, who's charged with receiving the bodies, was that did not change the 40-year average at all.
Wow. And as you, Sue, and David know, and we've talked about this before the show, the research shows, and you know this, that if you put up a deterrent somewhere, for example, if someone is going to go to the bridge and jump and there is a deterrent, they won't go somewhere else, which I think is interesting. So it does save lives.
Oftentimes they fixate on a certain mode of suicide, whether it be the Golden Gate Bridge or by another means. My son, he fixated on the Golden Gate Bridge. I'm sure that he knew exactly where he had to go to jump to not survive. I believe if the net was there, he'd still be alive.
Right.
Would he have jumped in the net? Probably not. He probably would have sat down and started to ask for help. But we don't know. But the fixation, it's the fixation on this certain mode of suicide.
And also, a friend of mine, David Rosen, actually did a study on this over about 40 years ago and interviewed people who survived, a very small number, and they were all sorry on the way down.
Yeah. I like to make the distinction between suicide prevention and suicide intervention. Suicide intervention is necessary when suicide prevention, mental health and so on, fails or there's no access for the individual. You have to have a physical intervention there, and that's been the result of the 40 years of empirical studies around the world. Restriction of access to lethal means is the most effective intervention.
And so, David and Sue, I'm wondering, has your advocacy work and everything you've done helped you to find hope again after your losses?
You know, for me, it was 18 months of my daughter's death was a sacred thing in a circle. Nothing could be in there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And by degrees, I came to realize that, I had a choice. First choice was live or die.
Right.
But beyond that, it was bury it or integrate it.
I like that.
And I decided that I had to integrate it into my life. And then at one point, my shrink said to me, David, you're doing well, but I would like to see you recover the joy of life. And that kind of was permission to go back into a full life.
Wow. How about you, Sue?
I
You're
think
a little earlier.
I'm a little earlier, and I think what it is for me is I can't bring my son back.
Right.
I could win all the lottos for the next 20 years and it won't bring my son back. But I can make a difference in one person's life. And that one person's life affects hundreds and thousands of people. A man, very intelligent man, told me. Steve Fugate says, "My life does not belong, or your life does not belong to you. It belongs to the world. It belongs to everybody." And so, as I think about it, I think about working with Bridge Rail, saving those people that will go to that bridge to jump, and they'll not be successful because we get that net in.
That's incredible.
That's great. And I know you go in large groups to meetings and do all sorts of things, and we're going to be showing in a minute a picture of what you do at Chrissy's Field with the shoes, putting out shoes of people, all the people. How often do you do that, and what other kinds of things do you do?
We do shoes exhibits of 1,600 pairs or more to represent the number, the known number. In all sizes, we do shoes exhibits ranging down to tabletop size. And we also encourage people, whether they've lost someone or not, if they feel that the bridge needs a suicide deterrent system, to go to the bridge board meeting and take their 2 minutes or 3 minutes of public testimony and just say as much to the board.
What another thing that we do is, this year on the 21st on Solist, we go to Baker Beach and we write every name of everybody that has jumped from that bridge and not survived. We write that name in the sand. We get a stick and we write their names in the sand. We've got somebody that's collected all the names, and we write their names in the sand because they have to be remembered.
I love that. So you write them in the sand, and then when the tide comes up, it gradually washes them away.
Yes, and last year it was on Jacob's birthday, and it was very powerful to say that water took my son.
Right.
But I know that I have to stand up and do something about it so it doesn't happen to other people's sons.
Right. I feel like that Kathy and Jacob are doing as much in their death as they're doing in their life. I feel like they are the guiding lights here, and that they are moving this forward, and you guys are just doing incredible things. And like you said, you don't even know your impact, because I think it's enormous. You're saving lives and building awareness for what's going on.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about Kevin Hines, because I want to talk a little bit about people who do survive because of what he goes around and says. He talks about mental illness, and we believe a lot of the people that jump from the bridge have mental illness or are suffering some depression or something like that. And I know he speaks about it. And one of the things that I thought was interesting, he said it's 4 minutes, right? I mean 4 seconds.
4 seconds.
Yeah.
Until you hit the water, you have 4 seconds.
So when you jump, it's 4 seconds.
Yeah.
That's very quick.
And then you hit the water at approximately 75 miles an hour.
Wow.
Oftentimes, well, I got my son's autopsy back. I'm one of the people that they found his body. The damages inside his body were tremendous. Everything from cracked ribs to broken clavicle to broken pelvis. But I think the thing that hurt me the most is he drowned.
Right. Wow.
And I know that what do they have boats that go around there and pick people up, or no?
Not patrolling, and they don't send them out, even if you don't necessarily send them out, even if you find a car in a lot with a note in it.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So that's
We were called by the bridge sergeant saying, "Did you lose your cell phone?" Because they found Kathy's cell phone on a steel beam outside the railing.
Oh, wow.
And they called the home number. Now, excuse me, but if I saw a cell phone on a beam outside, I wouldn't assume somebody dropped their cell phone. I'd assume I should call the Coast Guard and send a boat out.
Right.
And Jacob, the patrol saw Jacob twice. He drove by him going northbound and saw him, went southbound and saw him, and then when he came the third time, he was gone, and they didn't send the Coast Guard out looking for him. His body was found the next day around on Stetson Bay.
Wow.
So let's say this again. How many people are jumping off the bridge? How many have?
Over 1,600 known.
Right. And that was at the very beginning of the bridge, which was in what year?
1937. Within 3 months was the first suicide, a World War I veteran. We know his name, Harold Wobber.
Wow.
So that was the beginning, and now it is how many people? Every other week, one person?
The 40-year average is unchanged by the last year, which was one of the highest years ever at 46. The 40-year average is 30 to 33 a year, 34 a year.
And the documented cases last year, the month of August was the highest ever, and that was 10 documented cases in the month of August alone.
Now, would you have a suggestion for people if they want to get involved in helping you?
Well, my suggestion is you can go to the, depends on what you want to do, of course, but if you want to go tell the Golden Gate Bridge Board that you think there should be a suicide deterrent
Now, remember,
system.
this is going to show all over the United States, so they could email them.
Sure,
Yes.
they could email them. They could also contact us at bridgerail.org and just indicate an interest in assisting.
All right.
So bridgerail.org.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to
Okay.
thank you both so much for being on the show and for all of the work you're doing and in your kid's name. And our heart goes out to you for this terrible loss that you've had also.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, David and Sue, and keep fighting the good fight. This is really important work you're doing.
We're going to see a picture now that Kevin Hines did, a little video clip of the shoes that you do at Chrissy Field. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good.
We're here at Chrissy Field under the beautiful, iconic, but severely deadly Golden Gate Bridge, the bridge that has become a harbinger of death to those who are suicidal, to those who know not what they're doing, are so mentally unstable they cannot bear to live. This is the Whose Shoes event, sponsored by the Bridge Rail Foundation at bridgerail.org, and these are the shoes of those who have been left to die at the Golden Gate Bridge. These are the shoes, the symbolic shoes, of the people who are no longer here and cannot speak for themselves. So we are in effect speaking for them. We are praying for them. We are hoping that no more have to die at that bridge, that they put up a net, and we stop this atrocity, and we save lives.
So we hope that you'll have some inspiration from this show today and find that little piece for yourself where you can make a difference in the world, even though we know you may have had a tremendous loss. And God bless.
This has been the Grief Relief Show, hosted by mother-daughter team Doctors Gloria and Heidi Horsley. This show has been brought to you by the Open to Hope Foundation, helping people find hope after loss. Be sure to visit opentohope.com, where you can listen to radio programs, watch Open to Hope TV, read articles, and view books. You can also join Dr. Gloria and Dr. Heidi on Twitter and Facebook and put your events on their international calendar. Thanks for watching, and remember, others have been there and made it, and you can too.